Hello everyone, myself Pratima Singh, student of B.Ed third semester, RKG Educational College, Mech City, Lucknow. Today I am going to discuss about new topic that is water cycle. So before we discuss the water cycle, let us take a look at the distribution of water on Earth. Approximately 90% of the Earth's water resides in the oceans. A fraction of the other 3% is the fresh water, which is frozen up into glaciers and icebergs. The same water has been circulating around the Earth for the past 4 billion years. So, if we talk about water cycle is the continuous movement of water over, above, and beneath the Earth's surface. The actual movement of water from one part of the cycle to another, for example, from river to ocean, is a result of processes such as evaporation, precipitation, infiltration, and runoff. Water cycle is also known as hydraulic cycle. वाटर साइकिल को हम हाइड्रोलॉजिक साइकिल के नाम से भी जानते हैं. Water cycle is the continuous movement of water from Earth's surface to the atmosphere and then back to the ground. It is a continuous process, hence it doesn't have starting or ending point. क्योंकि ये एक निरंतर चलने वाली प्रक्रिया है, इसलिए ना कोई इसका स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट है, ना इसका कोई एंड पॉइंट होता है. Thus, the water present on Earth has been in circulation since the evolution of the Earth. So, water goes through all the three states, that is solid, liquid, gas in the process. There are several factors that affect the water cycle: the sun, air currents, etc. So, there are various stages that are involved in water cycle, and they are evaporation, condensation, precipitation, collection, and then runoff. So, the first stage of water cycle is the evaporation. Evaporation occurs when the sun heats up water in rivers or lakes or the ocean and turns it into water vapor or steam. Evaporation is the process in which sun's energy heats up the water present in different water bodies like river, lakes, oceans, swamps, and others, which subsequently increase the temperature of water. सन की प्रेजेंस में क्या होता है, डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज का जो वाटर होता है वो धीरे धीरे गर्म होता जाता है और उसका टेम्परेचर धीरे धीरे इंक्रीज होता रहता है, और टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होने की वजह से वाटर धीरे धीरे वाटर वेपर में कन्वर्ट होने लगता है, और डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज जैसे रिवर, लेक, ओशियन से वो एयर में होते हुए भाप बन के उड़ने लगता है. द राइजिंग एयर करेंट्स लाइक the rising air currents take the vapor up in the sky. Simultaneously, plants and trees also lose water to the atmosphere in the form of vapor, which rises up in the sky. पेड़ पौधे भी इसी प्रकार वाटर वेपर बनाते हैं और वाटर को लूज करते हैं in the presence of in atmosphere. If we see in plants, minute uh, pores are present which are called stomata, and through stomata loss of water occurs which in the form of water vapor. So this process of losing water from plants and trees are known as transpiration process. So in this stage we have seen that in the presence of sun's heat, water present in different water bodies like oceans, rivers, lakes, and swamps, etc., turns into water vapor or steam. What इन सब वाटर बॉडीज का वाटर हीट के प्रेजेंस में वाटर वेपर धीरे धीरे बनने लगता है और वो हवा में करंट के रूप में उड़ जाता है. So after evaporation, the second and in addition to evaporation, transpiration also occurs. That is, transpiration is the process when water evaporates from the plant. Plants lose water through their stem, leaves and root. ट्रांसपिरेशन प्रोसेस में पेड़ों द्वारा वाटर वेपर बनाया जाता है और वो वाटर लूज करते हैं थ्रू देयर स्टेम, लीफ और रूट. अपने तने से, पत्तियों से और रूट से प्लांट्स धीरे धीरे वाटर को लूज करते हैं और इस प्रोसेस को हम ट्रांसपिरेशन कहते हैं. A fully grown tree may lose several hundred gallons of water through its leaves on a hot, dry day. एक fully grown tree 100 gallons of water लूज करता है अपनी पत्तियों से एक हॉट ड्राई डे की अगर हम बात करें तो. Now, the second stage of water cycle is condensation. Condensation occurs when water vapor or steam in the air gets cooled and changes from a gas back into liquid forming cloud. Condensation तब होता है जब वाटर वेपर या फिर स्टीम हवा में जाती है और हवा में जाकर ये ठंडी होती है और ये गैस में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है और फिर ये धीरे 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 ये लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट होती है और ये बादल बना देती है. So as the water vapor rise high, the cooler temperature makes them cool down and then back into liquid. Condensation occurs. Wind and air currents move the moisture around, leading into the formation of cloud. So wind and air currents play an important role in the formation of clouds. When the water vapor gets cooled and changes its form in the process called condensation. So this is the second stage of water cycle. Now the third stage of water cycle, which is known as precipitation. Precipitation occurs when so much water has condensed that the clouds get heavy and water falls back to the earth in the form of rain, hail, sleet or snow. So in the process of precipitation, wind movements cause the cloud particles to collide as they become water-laden. Wind movements play an important role in cloud formation, and when clouds collide and they are water laden, so They develop into rain-bearing clouds and fall back into the Earth's surface by the process known as precipitation. This may occur in the form of rain, hail, sleet, or snow or sleet depending upon the temperature conditions. So the last stage of water cycle is collection. This is when water that falls from the clouds as rain, snow, hail, or sleet collects in the ocean, rivers, lakes, streams. Most will soak into the ground and will collect as ground underground water. जब ये बादल बन जाते हैं तो ये या तो रेन या स्नो या हेल के रूप में बरसते हैं और ये ग्राउंड के रास्ते होते हुए डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज तक जाते हैं. So in this image we will easily see that the first process, which is known as evaporation, occurs in the presence of sunlight. The water gets heated and change its form into water vapor. So after evaporation and in also the plants in trees lose water from their parts like from leaves, from stem, from roots, etc. And this water gets converted into water vapor, and this water vapor gets cooled and form the clouds when they get cooled. So in the process called condensation, cloud formation occurs. After condensation, wind movements cause the clouds to collide. और कंडेंसेशन के बाद क्या होता है, क्लाउड्स आपस में कोलाइड होते हैं जिससे कि और वो बहुत सारे पानी से भरे हुए बादल होते हैं जो आपस में कोलाइड होते हैं और यही बादल हैवी रेन के रूप में ग्राउंड में बारिश के रूप में बरसते हैं. एंड दिस प्रोसेस इज नोन एज प्रेसिपिटेशन. प्रेसिपिटेशन में जो वाटर होता है वो डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज तक आता है, या तो वो रिवर में या ओशन में कलेक्ट होता है, नहीं तो वो ग्राउंड के रास्ते डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज तक चला जाता है. तो ये साइकिल कंटिन्यूस चलती रहती है. फिर कलेक्शन हुआ, कलेक्शन के बाद फिर सन की हीट की वजह से वाटर वेपर में चेंज हुआ, एवोपरेशन हुआ, एवोपरेशन के बाद एवोपरेशन के साथ ही साथ ट्रांसपिरेशन हुआ और क्लाउड फॉर्मेशन हुआ. क्लाउड फॉर्मेशन के बाद बादल ठंडे हुए और पानी से भर गए. इसके बाद जब बादल कोलाइड हुए तो वो प्रेसिपिटेट होकर बारिश के रूप में ग्राउंड पे बरस गए और वही बारिश का पानी फिर डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज से होता हुआ डिफरेंट वाटर बॉडीज में आकर कलेक्ट हो जाता है और दिस साइकिल occurs continuous. So last stage is also known as runoff and infiltration. The precipitation either run off into oceans, rivers, and ground surface or is absorbed into the soil. जो बारिश होती है या तो वो प्रेसिपिटेशन हो जाती है रेन के रूप में, या तो वो ओशन में या वो रिवर में ग्राउंड सरफेस में एब्जॉर्ब हो जाती है, जिसको कि हम इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बोलते हैं. and post the last stage, water is again ready to be evaporated and resume stage 1. So लास्ट स्टेज के बाद वाटर फिर रेडी हो जाता है स्टेज फर्स्ट के लिए और वाटर वेपर में कन्वर्ट होने के लिए. So this is how the water cycle has been going on for billions of years, thus bringing fresh water to people, animals, and plants, helping them survive all around the earth. So we have seen the different stages of water cycle, which are evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection or runoff. And this process continuously going on in our atmosphere. So, um, water cycle is powered from solar energy. Around 86% of the global evaporation occurs from the oceans, reducing their temperature by evaporative cooling. वाटर साइकिल किसकी वजह से होती है? सोलर एनर्जी, मेनली सोलर एनर्जी की ही वजह से वाटर साइकिल हमारे एटमॉस्फेयर में वर्क करती है. 86% of the global evaporation occurs from the ocean, reducing their temperature by evaporating cooling. 86% ग्लोबल एवोपरेशन हमारे ओशंस की वजह से होता है, reducing their temperature by evaporating cooling. Without the cooling, the effect of evaporation on the greenhouse effect would lead to much higher surface temperature of 67 degrees centigrade in the warmer planet. So what will be the effect of water cycle on biogeochemical cycling? So while the water cycle is itself a biogeochemical cycle, the flow of water over and beneath the earth is a key component of the cycle of other biological processes. So runoff is responsible for almost all of the transport of eroded sediments and phosphorus from land to water bodies. जब रन ऑफ होता है तो डिफरेंट सेडिमेंट्स इरोड होते हैं और डिफरेंट न्यूट्रिएंट्स और पार्टिकल्स लैंड से होते हुए वाटर बॉडीज तक चले जाते हैं. The salinity of the ocean is derived from erosion and transport of dissolved salt from the land. और इसी की वजह से ओशन की सैलिनिटी में डिफरेंस आता है जब लैंड से वो पार्टिकल्स इरोड होके ओशन तक जाते हैं. सो cultural eutrophication of lakes is primarily due to the phosphorus applied in excess to agricultural fields in fertilizers and then transported overland and down rivers. Both runoff and groundwater flow play significant role in transporting nitrogen from the land to water bodies. This is the effect of water cycle on biogeochemical processes. So what will be the effect over change in time? The water cycle describes the processes that drive the movement of water through the hydrosphere. However much more water is in storage for long period of time than is actually moving through the cycle. The storehouses for the vast variety of all water on earth are the oceans. It is estimated that of the 32 lakh 150,000 of Earth's water supply about is stored in oceans, or about 97% is stored in oceans. It is also estimated that the oceans supply about 90% of the evaporated water that goes into the water cycle. और ये अनुमान लगाया जाता है कि 90% ओशन का वाटर जो होता है वो एवापोरेट होता है वाटर साइकिल में. During colder climatic periods, more ice caps and glaciers form, and enough of global water supply accumulate as ice to lessen the amount in other parts of the water cycle. The reverse is true during the warm periods. During the last ice age, glaciers covered almost one-third of Earth's landmass, with the result being the ocean were about 122 meters lower than today. So during the last global warming spell around 125,000 years ago, the seas were about 5.5 meters in height, higher than they are now. About 3 millions of years ago, the ocean could have been up to 50 meters higher. So this was the change over time due to water cycle. So this was the some effects of water cycle on our climate and its change over time. So we have seen all three stages of water cycle and how they complete in uh, starting from evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection, and then stage one again start in water cycle. So it's all about today and this topic. So thank you so much.